Now, presented in digital widescreen.
Tonight on Live at 5, preparing local small businesses for the Affordable Care Act and concealed carry. A Peoria man pleads guilty to murder, and the state needs to start printing lawmakers' paychecks once again. Good evening. Illinois lawmakers will not miss another paycheck. A Cook County judge ruled this afternoon that Governor Pat Quinn's veto of the General Assembly salaries was, in fact, unconstitutional. Back in July, unhappy with the lack of action on pension reform, Governor Quinn used his amendatory veto power to cut the money for salaries from the state budget. House and Senate leaders Mike Madigan and John Collerton promptly filed suit over that decision. Today's ruling means State Comptroller Judy Bartopinka must pay lawmakers their salaries dating back to August plus interest. Quinn says he will still appeal this decision. Meanwhile, there's been no public movement on pension reform. A committee has been meeting all summer long. The hope still is to pass a bill during the fall veto session, which begins on October 22nd. President Obama today slammed what he called irresponsible congressional Republicans who are threatening to shut down the government if the Affordable Care Act is not defunded. The president praised health reform and took on its opponents during an energetic speech at Maryland Community College. He vowed that as long as he's president, the Affordable Care Act is here to stay.
So that's what's going to happen with the Affordable Care Act. And once it's working really well, I guarantee you they will not call it Obamacare.
In Washington, a deal may be in the works to avert a partial government shutdown. Republicans are still vowing to kill Obamacare, but may postpone that fight until the budget issue is resolved. A CNBC poll shows 59% of the public is saying no to defunding Obamacare if it leads to a government shutdown. Small business owners looking to shop around in the federal online insurance marketplace will have to wait. Today, the Obama administration announced the online exchange will not be available to small businesses until November 1st, but paper applications will be available next Tuesday when the exchange officially opens. Illinois health departments are offering free in-person counseling sessions for those who are confused on just how the marketplace works. Today, the Peoria City-County Health Department met with local organizations working with the uninsured to discuss the Affordable Care Act. The big message is everyone must have health insurance by January 1st, whether it be Medicaid, coverage through your employer, or personally obtained through the online exchange. You can find the marketplace online at healthcarereform.illinois.gov, and to schedule a one-on-one counseling session in Peoria County, call 679-6694. Residents outside Peoria County should contact their local health department. A 19-year-old Peoria man has pleaded guilty to one count of first-degree murder in the shooting death of James Cohey. Even though prosecutors say he was not the shooter, they say Devin Moore was part of the trio that botched a burglary at the victim's Lake Camelot home in August of last year. Moore admitted he was legally accountable for Cohey's death. As part of his plea deal, he must testify at the November trial of Amanda Payne. Prosecutors believe Payne is actually the one who shot and killed James Cohey. The Peoria Area Chamber of Commerce offered an unusual seminar for area business owners today. About 24 employers spent their lunch hour learning about Illinois' concealed carry law. Peoria County State's Attorney Jerry Brady explained how the law will affect them, and he heard recommendations from a representative of a local law firm. The most important advice was to urge businesses to do their homework.
Recognize their qualifications. It's going to take time, and they need to be aware of what they have to do, what the qualification process is, so that they become familiar with it and don't just immediately believe they can carry a concealed weapon.
Brady says even businesses that prohibit guns will be required to follow certain guidelines, like posting signs. Firearms are already banned in places like schools, hospitals, and airports. Illinois State Police are cracking down on motorists blowing through school bus stop signs and lights. In a ride-along with the state police this morning, one trooper was on a bus while another went ahead to catch the violators who wouldn't stop at designated bus stops. All the drivers this morning did obey the flashing lights and the arm that comes down, but police say that is not always the case, especially in the town of Tremont.
We had a situation the other day where our crossing guard on Route 9 was out in the middle of the road with her stop arm up, her sign, and somebody just went right by her while children were starting to come across the road.
State police say violators who are caught will automatically receive a $150 ticket as well as a 3-month suspension on their driver's license. Students whose parents are in the military can sometimes face stress or even disappointment, especially if one or both of their parents are deployed overseas on active duty. A group of education majors at Bradley University today heard firsthand about potential signs that students may be struggling while their parents are away. Under the program Operation Educate the Educators, Colonel Robbie Robertson from the 182nd Airlift Wing talked with them about the importance of providing support to those students.
One of the biggest things is family separation. You know, the loved one is gone, deployed, and the child sees that, and there may be some acting out that might be as simple as acting out, or it might be as simple as kind of going into oneself, not communicating with others, feeling a little depressed.
First Lady Michelle Obama and Jill Biden launched that national program 2 years ago. Just ahead on Live at 5, a big hit to the recovering auto industry. Also, a major scam may have forced Americans to overpay for more than 25 million cars.
Ashley, sunshine, highs in the low 80s once again today. Looks like mid 80s coming our way tomorrow. Mostly dry weekend and maybe some showers Saturday night. All in all, the dry forecast and the severe drought continues. Let's go outside. IDOT Road Watch Camera Network. That's a look at the Morton construction zone on I-74 and 82 at the airport. 56 in the morning, 84 tomorrow afternoon. Weekend forecast coming up.
You're watching Your Home Team at 5 with Ashley McNamee and Chief Meteorologist Chuck Collins. This is News 25 Live at 5.
A massive conspiracy to fix auto parts prices could have impacted the cost of your last car. Honda, Toyota, Mazda, Chrysler, Ford, even General Motors. Those are just some of the companies victimized in a scheme to drive up the cost of auto parts. The Justice Department says auto parts manufacturers targeted more than 30 different products, from everything from windshield wipers to bearings, compressors, even alternators. Attorney General Eric Holder says the scheme lasted several years and impacted more than 25 million cars.
As a result of these conspiracies, Americans paid more for their cars. We will continue to check under every hood and kick every tire to make sure that we put an end to this illegal and destructive conduct.
20 companies and 21 executives have been charged in this ongoing conspiracy investigation. Despite that scandal, though, we are seeing new signs that the American auto industry continues to recover. In fact, the demand for American-made cars is rising. Starting in April, about 7,500 Toyota Corollas made in Mississippi will be exported to 18 countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. Nissan currently exports its U.S.-built models to over 45 countries. U.S. automakers are cashing in on the exports, too.
This is good for the U.S. auto industry, because you want to have an industry that ultimately can not only supply vehicles for the people who are buying it here, but also can export.
All of this means more jobs for Americans as the auto industry continues its surge. In health news tonight, surgeons at a hospital in eastern China are attempting to perform a transplant using a nose grown on the patient's forehead. The patient suffered severe nasal trauma in a serious car accident in August last year. Initially, he didn't undergo plastic surgery because of financial concerns, but a lack of surgery led to an infection and surgeons were not able to complete a nasal reconstruction. They then came up with the idea to grow a new nose by placing a skin tissue expander onto the patient's forehead, cut into the shape of a nose. All right, still ahead on Live at 5, Chuck's back with a look at our full forecast. Also coming up, the chef from Johnny's Italian Steakhouse is in, showcasing his veal parmesan.